Welcome back to the Green Means Go channel. It's your host, me, and today we are talking about JJ Redick's first week in office as the Los Angeles Lakers head coach. And I know what you may be thinking. Well, this guy's going to be biased. He's wearing a Lakers jersey. Au contraire, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Lakers jersey, and I purchased it after Kobe Bryant's death because I thought it would be a cool piece to have and may retain some value, which maybe makes me a sicko in some ways, but I do not sugarcoat and I do not fib. So that is why I purchased this. And I thought it would be somewhat ironic if I wore this today while I was critical of the Lakers. All right, throw you a little curveball here. Critical of maybe the Lakers franchise in this hire, but more specifically of JJ Redick, who I will openly admit I have never been a fan of. Top to bottom, player, commentator, podcast host, you name it, just never been the biggest JJ guy. I don't know what it is. I like to think my radar about people's character is pretty decent. I was never a fan of Dr. Disrespect too. And look what happens this week, all right? So I'm just saying, my track record's pretty good on calling out the funny business. So JJ Redick, this week, here's what happened. We'll talk about two things specifically, and then we're going to talk about the future of the Lakers franchise with him at the helm. Obviously, we're going to discuss his press conference where he is very blatant in his opinion and his response. We'll watch that full video in case you haven't seen it, but I'm assuming you have. The second one is this tweet by Halima Nash. She is coming out for the first time, and people have been critical of that. We'll talk about that, saying that he called her the N-word to her face on the campus of Duke when he was a player there. So we'll talk about that because these two things were kind of the biggest news pieces of the week, and just my thoughts, general thoughts on the hire. So let's go ahead and watch the press conference, his opening press conference for,
first of all, happy birthday,
the Los Angeles Lakers.
Second of all, what misconceptions or concerns about you that you've heard in the last few weeks are you the most looking forward to dispelling when you're the coach?
I'll stop it right there. Okay, simple question, right? What are you looking forward to proving wrong that people have said about you? He already looks ticked, okay? He hasn't been asked 10 questions as the head coach of the Lakers, and he looks mad at this one. A very normal question, and he will acknowledge that. But listen to his response. Okay, he does swear they have been bleeped, but just listen to his response to this question.
It's a valid question, and I've certainly heard everything. It's been a really interesting 6 weeks or so, just in terms of being part of the engagement farming industry. It's been really interesting. However, I don't really have a great answer for your question because I really don't give a fuck. Honestly, I want to coach the Lakers. I want to coach the team. I don't want to dispel anything. I don't. I want to become a great coach in the NBA, and I want to win championships, and I want my players to maximize their careers. That's all I fucking care about.
And another one for good measure. All right. So a couple things. Here are my thoughts on this, and I think it's a balancing act. I never want people to sugarcoat or give the political standard answer. I want people to be honest and transparent. But with honesty and transparency, I think decorum matters. Just general respect. You are there as the face of the organization. Now, you're going to argue, LeBron may be the face of the organization, sure. But right now, you are the new face or leader of this organization. In your opening press conference, there was I'm worried a little bit that if this is how he is attacking when nothing is on the line, when he has it as easy as possible, when he hasn't let anybody down yet, if this is how defensive he is, what is JJ Redick going to be when they're losing? When AD for the X season in a row is injured and LeBron is 48 years old, right? What's going to happen when things are on the line? If he is being this harsh, and I don't want to say crude. I don't know if it's crude, but this crude early, what does this mean? Okay, so I don't care for it. I think it's weird. Bottom line, I think it's just weird behavior to throw out a few F-bombs in your opening press conference as the new face of the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the most respected or most known organizations in the NBA. You show every NBA logo to someone who doesn't care about the NBA, okay? They're going to probably recognize the Lakers. People know the Lakers, all right? So my question is, what's the chip on his shoulder right now? The only thing people can say about him is he has no experience. And that's why they doubt him, okay? Why couldn't he have just said that, right? People are going to doubt me because I have no coaching experience. I played in the league for long. I've studied the game. I've been talking about the game since I retired. I'll be okay. How's that for a response, JJ? Because that seems pretty reasonable. Because clearly you do give a F if you're so vocal about not giving an F, okay? That's my opinion on it. It just feels arrogant. It feels weird, okay? It doesn't offend me. I don't care. It just kind of makes me go, what? Are you okay? Are you okay, JJ? You haven't played a game yet, and you're already mad. So this tweet comes out, Halima Nash, June 25th. I've been called the N-word to my face by a white man once in my life, and it was on the campus of Duke University while I was doing work with the basketball team. And today he was named the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. What a world. Now, people are critical that, and I say people, Twitter trolls are critical that she's waited this long to come forward. And I think that's a fallacy in some ways. She's not, her coming forward as he's doing a podcast, it doesn't feel necessary. I think this is such a monumental shift in career paths where she has full right to come forward and talk about this. The funniest thing to me about this is that on Tuesday night, a spokesperson for Redick denied the allegations. No, it never happened. A spokesperson, like not even JJ Redick, comes forward and says no, because he would never say yes. If this happened, he would never say yes, guys. I mean, it's sad. But he can't say this happened, okay? And it's funny that they didn't even give him a chance to open his mouth about it, right? They said, you have to stay as far away from this as possible. I will speak for you. Who will speak for you? I don't know. I don't know who the spokesperson was, okay? I typically am one to side with the victim on all things. I think that is the morally correct thing to do in most cases. And if I was in a guillotine, all right, and a cord would be pulled to chop my head off if I was wrong, and I had to pick a side, I would say she's telling the truth. I just would, okay? This was however many years ago. He was a college kid. I was young when JJ Redick was at Duke, but I was alive and watching basketball, and I know that he was kind of a bad boy there. He wasn't necessarily the nicest, kindest, most genuine fella. I know he had a lot of hate, as a lot of Duke players do, just because they're wearing the Duke jersey. A point is, I don't know if this accusation falls far from his moral tree. Okay, so just two things that kind of butt up against each other in the first week that will pass. They will blow by, but not good looks if you are JJ Redick. So let's talk about the previous coaches of the Lakers, because I do think this matters. Jerry West, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, Magic Johnson, and Mike D'Antoni, all superstars of the game in some fashion, okay? Either as a player or a coach, all going to be remembered 100 years from now for their work they've done for the NBA. Lately, the hires have been less than ideal. So I don't know if this is like a grasping at a famous straw in some ways. Like, we had so much prestige, we have to get that back in some ways, and our last decade has been kind of a mixed bag. But I don't know if JJ Redick still even stacks up to these names, and maybe that will have to be something that he earns. But right now, I'm kind of torn on the potential legacy that JJ Redick has. Talking about some recent trends of hires that had no experience. We have Steve Nash in Brooklyn in 2020. His record, although it was a winning record, did not necessarily pan out. His best result was an Eastern Conference semifinal. He inherited Kyrie and KD, which in some situations may be the biggest blessing you could have, but in Brooklyn it was not. We'll give it a thumbs down. Derek Fisher for the Knicks in 2014, a losing record, no playoffs. He had Melo, but, peak Melo, aging peak Melo, and I don't know if they had a ton of guys around him. I would say it was a failure. Then we have Jason Kidd, who I'm giving a meh, and maybe that's critical. We could maybe give him a semi-thumbs up. Awful with the Nets, which maybe was not his fault. Then he comes to Milwaukee and gets to coach Giannis, which is kind of a gift, and doesn't do a ton there. But then now leads the Dallas Mavericks with, a pretty pathetic team outside of Kyrie and Luka. I mean, top to bottom, if you look at NBA rosters, Dallas did not have the best roster, especially in the West. Probably the fourth best roster pound for pound in the West, to the NBA Finals, where they face a stacked Boston team and lose. So if we look at hires recently of coaches with no NBA experience, we'll say one of three are hitting the mark. And it took Jason Kidd a decade to hit the mark. I mean, truly. So if this is how JJ Redick's career plays out, I think it's going to be another failure in part of the Lakers. So why the hire? Is this a cheap attempt to keep LeBron from opting out? I hope not. And if it is, I have to ask why. Is LeBron really that valuable at this point in his career? Maybe for optics, maybe for drawing other players in, maybe for the potential of him staying with the franchise, retiring with the franchise, and maybe what benefit that gives you. Sure, but still, why? Basketball IQ, I think, is the most reasonable reason for this hire. Obviously, JJ Redick knows the game, understands the game, and can put people in positions to win the game. I hope that's why they hired him, and I have to think that's why. Is this a PR or image move? We have to get somebody in-house who is respected by the league, who knows how the league works, who, even though he doesn't have experience coaching, still has experience studying the game. I think that potentially could be it as well. So what's the bottom line? Here are my future predictions, and we'll wrap this up. I think JJ Redick leads the Lakers no further than the Western Conference Finals in the next 7 years. Now, if we want to talk about Jason Kidd and what he was able to do when he moved on to different organizations and got more experience, then we can apply that to JJ Redick. But do I think with the current roster the Lakers have, mixed with the roster I project them to have in the next 7 years, do I think JJ Redick is going to be the thing that moves the needle to championships? No. Okay, and I've gone on record and made some bold predictions on this channel, and a lot of them have been correct, okay? And specifically, the Colorado Buffaloes being overrated, all right? And I'm willing to stake my reputation again. JJ Redick will not lead this team, and I don't know if it'll be entirely his fault. I just think the Lakers are a little bit of a mess right now, a lot of question marks. So that's what I got for you today. Let me know in the comments. You like JJ? You hate JJ? What are your thoughts on the matter? We'll talk to you next time.